Truck racing fans all over the world, we made it. We are here at the famous, legendary Nürburgring. Hello and welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And it is mid-season. That means we do have the ADAC Truck Grand Prix internationally, and we welcome you to be all joining us. We're here ahead of the paddock, and we also welcome our three commentators, Joachim Eberts, German commentator, and Fonsi Cebrian. And we do have the English commentator, Chaz Drakert. And he's here at my side right now. Chaz, normally you're sitting in a booth. This is why you're short-armed, to be fair enough, because it's really windy right now here. But it's the Eifel weather, of course. How do you see the temperatures rising for this weekend?
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, the atmosphere is electric, even though, you know, the weather has been the talking point of the day so far. We had a lot of rain during practice, both sessions. It really rained a lot during practice too, and now ahead of qualifying. It's drying out. It's not really that warm, to be honest. I'm going to pretend that I'm all British and Northern and still wear a T-shirt and shorts throughout all of this. But yeah, it's been so interesting weather-wise, because even the drivers and the teams, you know, they come here and they don't know what to expect ever, and it's almost like it's still a surprise to them when they get here. So I'm going to be intrigued to see what they do setup-wise over the course of the weekend.
Absolutely, you need to get prepared, and as German Portuguese I prefer a warm jacket, of course. So we do see the trucks lining up for the absolute new qualifying format. We do got three set pieces for them. We're going to wave to Antonio Albacetti, then the leader of the pack, Norbert Kirschis, will be joining us soon in a couple of seconds. So if I'm going to be prepared for this weekend, I need a protein bar, I need a rain jacket. What do you need for commentating this weekend?
I need a comfy chair, and that's exactly what I've got in my OB van down there, so I'm very grateful to have that. But, you know, like I say, the atmosphere is electric. I'm buzzing to be here. I'm over the moon to be back on site again with everybody here. It's great to see, and it's just awesome to have all the trucks here. Thanks, Norby. We've got a fantastic field of them as well. We've got the biggest field of the season so far here at the Nürburgring, and it's no surprise. It's such an awesome event to be a part of.
Don't Touch Racing, they've got two trucks on the track. It's with Bradley Smith, of course, because we do want to see new faces, and Sven Water, we're going to talk to him later. This is one of the topics. Of course, we want to talk about the 3-star accreditation of this championship, a huge, massive achievement. That's one of the topics. Of course, everything you will know, get to know everything which takes place. So, but you mentioned the weather, of course, you mentioned the conditions, and the trucks, they need to find the line really properly to get through this racetrack. How do you think they're going to adapt? Because we've got some local heroes, of course, here. How do you think they're going to adapt with this track?
Well, it's a difficult one because it's a circuit with a lot of slow sectors and fast sectors as well. The chicane towards the end of the lap's really difficult. The first sector is massively difficult. There's a lot of elevation change. So there's so many different things they need to consider when it comes to setting the truck up as well. I was speaking to Luke Garrett earlier today, and when he was talking about the rain, he was literally waiting before practice too with no wheels on the truck because they didn't know what they were going to do to the setup based on the weather 5 minutes before it went live. So it's every minute matters here at the Nürburgring, and to be fair, the drivers and teams have got so much to think about. But I don't know, I think some of the local guys, they don't have that much of an advantage here just because of how naturally tricky it is.
Absolutely, and you can see the new tyres, of course. Goodyear, they provided them with tyres that are really have much more grip during rainy conditions, so that's good to see also. And it's fun that because they're lining up here, and this is the speedy point, they're going over there. And speaking of speed, you need to get there, but to your booth. But let's talk about, since we do see everyone here, we do see, of course, Andre Korsum. Then he is going to show Bradley Smith lots about his experience. What do you need as a truck driver? I mean, you're so close to the paddock, and I think those are very fine lads and ladies here.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great team behind them now. With having Don't Touch Racing on side, they're going to gain a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. And, you know, Bradley's a young gun. He's a great driver. He's been doing really well in the British Championships. And he's just an all-round lovely guy to have in the series. And they're open to learning from Don't Touch Racing and taking this advantage. And, you know, Sven Volter have jumped on board as well to obviously support Bradley in what he's doing. And it's great to see that, because it's not just the drivers knocking on the door to come into the series. They're getting the support and the invitation from the brands and the manufacturers involved to be a part of it as well. So to get that welcome, it must be heartwarming for them as well, but we love to see it.
Absolutely, we're ahead of the Nexus truck here, and there is Stefan Faas lining up in the line. So the qualifying format is brand new, and it's also given a little bit of spice more to this tournament. So since we are mid-season, I think it's really, really evolving. It's really nice to see thrilling action. What do you see about the qualification?
I've enjoyed qualifying. I think it's been really good because the drivers, they had quite a little bit to fight for last time out. Obviously, with the older format, they used to have the top 10 go through into Super Pole in the second part of qualifying. But now with this new one, there's 3 individual sessions. So rather than just putting one lap on the board and just thinking, oh, well, that's it, you know, I'm done, I can sit in the pits for 15 minutes, they've only got a short window where they can set a time and then they've got to do it all over again with a clean slate, and they have to do another time. So to have to do that 3 times is still quite demanding on the drivers and the trucks as well. So yeah, it's been as I've described it before, quite spicy. It's been great to see it.
And now we're going to see your time because you need to run down there very, very fast. So please, speedy, just record. I think we're going to follow him just a bit. That's how fast our fastest commentator, of course, is Chaz Stryken. And as you can see, the machines right now here lining up. You've got Luis Requenco over here. So it's very, very packed to see all the fans. This is what it's also about here at the Nürburgring, because you can be so close to the trucks. And of course, we do have the grid walk then ahead of race number 1 starting tomorrow. But we're starting on Friday right now with the qualification. And as you can see, all the fans right now, they're just waiting here for Sascha Lenz, of course. He's one of the local heroes, and he's given us a small salute there. Really, really fast right now, trying to get into the grid. So as you can see, everyone is prepped for a really action-packed weekend, and we are absolutely delighted to be here at the Nürburgring. And maybe we can see the Nürburgring over there, which means the clouds have gone away because it's really, really dusty this morning. But right now we do have nice conditions, and the track is almost dry, as you can see, and there tires from the other championship around, they're transported over here. So I think we transported Chaz to the commentary booth, and if I'm hearing the signal that he's there, maybe, I think he needed some extra time. Oh, he's there. That's good. So we want to have a quick look back at the highlights of Zolder, because it has been a spectacular weekend for everyone. So please have a look at the highlights of Zolder.
Yeah, you might have just seen me run on TV, everybody. You're never going to see that ever again. But yeah, Zolder was a fantastic race weekend for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. So many drivers came into it with really high spirits, but also a little bit of a reserve, bit of apprehension, because it's such a solid track in Zolder, and it's very tight and twisty and always massively difficult. Norbert Kish was straight out of the gates, though, at the start of the weekend and took a dominant first victory, while all the drivers behind got up to a little bit of shenanigans. Reliability was one of the talking points of the weekend, with numerous drivers having fuel rail issues, ECU problems, and just general engine failures as well. But everybody fought through as hard as they could to try and take as many points away from such an important weekend in the championship. Antonio Albacete going well on the Saturday ahead of Jochen Hahn, as Norbert Kish took another victory and wanted to head towards another Grand Slam. The reverse grid races are always exciting at Zolder as well. I mean, they're exciting everywhere, but at Zolder in particular, with it being so difficult to overtake, it certainly added a lot of spice to the weekend. It was Lucas Hahn and Stefan Faas on the front row for race 2, with Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim jumping in the mix as well. The penalty markers are flying and bodywork all over the place, as expected, but the tight and twisty confines of Zolder were hugely entertaining. Stefan Faas having a bit of a moment here, trying to defend from Norbert Kish, while once again, Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim gave us a lot to look at and a lot of battles over the course of the entire weekend. Luke Garrett having brake disc issues towards the end of the day was not a good sign for him heading into Sunday. But there were some great battles in the mid-pack as well, as drivers made their way through the order. Sascha Lenz on a particularly strong charge through, trying to chase down Jochen Hahn for some championship points. But at the very front, it was Norbert Kish taking another victory and moving one step closer towards that extra Grand Slam. He'd already done it 3 times in a row in previous, twice in a row in previous, wanting to do it for a 3rd time. And it was looking very convincing after the first 2 races of the weekend. Norby was certainly happy with the winning run that him and the team were on, but Lucas Hahn getting a podium was one of the real highlights of Saturday. It was great to welcome him back into the series. Qualifying on the second day was in sunshine as opposed to a light drizzle that we had on the Saturday, and drivers then had a chance to get all of their pace out and put it on the board. Unfortunately, though, 2 failures for Louis Requenco and Stefan Faas put them on the sidelines and brought the recovery teams into action, but everyone was still in high spirits before the second day's racing. Sasha Lenz got a great start in race 3 and just about challenged Norby for the first lap or so, but then Norby took the lead and disappeared off up the road, while Jochen Hahn wanted a piece of it to try and get in there as well. There was a few penalties and a few drive-throughs as well for drivers based on the black smoke rule and penalty markers, but an attritional race was once again won by Norbert Kiss. Taking 3 out of 4 races, it was a case of who could stop him when it came to the final race of the weekend. John Newell started on pole position, but had a bit of a rough start and was certainly knocked about a bit in the early stages. Drama with Andre Kurzim, Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kiss was one of the highlights of the races, with the amazing bit of driving for the 3 of them to still make it round the rest of the lap. Norbert Kiss had to just about nurse a puncture through the remainder of the race, but an incident down into the chicane for John Newell, Steffi Halm and Louis Requenco would mean that the circuit was yellow flagged for the majority of the race. But for the first time this season, it was a race won not by Norbert Kiss, but Jochen Hahn, who took the victory in a historic 1-2 with his son Lucas, taking second outright in their Ivecos. And there was not a dry eye in the house as the 2 of them completed the first ever Hard-Sun 1-2. But we move on here to the Nürburgring for this weekend at the ADAC International Truck Grand Prix. And it's an absolute joy to be back on site. I'm sure you could see my excitement just a moment or so ago. This is the layout of the circuit, though. We're not using the full Grand Prix circuit. Down towards the Dunlop Carer and up towards the Michael Schumacher S is where all of the show trucks are and a lot of the fan villages down there. It's an amazing part of the circuit. Huge entertainment. However, the Grand Prix circuit shortened to this, what we often call the school layout here at the Nürburgring, is still a huge challenge. That first Mercedes arena really has the drivers dancing the trucks on the throttle and on the brakes, and on the Bilstein curve as well. Trying to get the run down the hill is so important. The final chicane is going to be a key overtaking opportunity as well, and even the final corner can catch the best of them out because it's a long, swooping right-hander where drivers can get on the throttle a little bit too early sometimes and make the odd mistake here and there. But it's great to be back at the Nürburgring once again. And this event comes around very quickly as the season goes on. But as Christina rightly pointed out earlier, we are at the midpoint of the season now. We have 7 race meetings this year. Starting out, we headed to Misano. We then went to the Slovakia Ring and then Zolder. Now here at the Nürburgring, we hit the halfway point of the campaign. We will then head to Most in Czechia after the summer break, I should say. Then Le Mans in France, and then back-to-back with the finale at Jarama in Spain, another round that all the drivers really look forward to. Jarama having quite a lot of truck racing heritage about it. But as you can see here at the Nürburgring, we've got typically Eifel weather at the moment. You can see the gorgeous hills in the background there, and the trees baked in sunlight, but also a not damp track. I'd say it's just a cold track at this point. It's dried out based on what we saw in practice earlier today. There's no worries about having a dry line or anything, but the drivers will do what they can to separate themselves and make sure that they can have a good run into their first qualifying laps. I can tell you from a different camera angle that I've got that Steffi Halm has just had an issue down into turn 1 and just gone straight on. She's just had a little trip into the gravel down there. One of the benefits of this weekend here at the Nürburgring is that they have the fan TV on for the whole weekend, so you get to see all of the different camera angles. I'm in a fantastic OB truck here by Vega Solutions. Big thanks to them, because I get to see everything going on all at once. So I may comment sometimes on things that aren't on the direct feed that you guys are looking at home, but I'll try and give you as much information as I can. There is Lucas Hahn. Great to have him back on our screens once again for this round of the championship. Had a quick chat with him this morning, and he's still over the moon, absolutely buzzing after the 1-2 with his father Jochen. There is what happened to Steffi Halm down towards the first corner. Just locked up that inside front right and then went straight on down the hill. It is a very heavy braking zone down there, so you have to be mighty careful. There you can see Norbert Kish mounting the curbs left and then right. Had a quick chat with Norby as well this morning. He said that despite the weather, they've still had everything going smoothly. He's very quick in the wet as well. It was also great to see Csaba Barco and all the guys from Revace Racing. Look at how quickly the wind is moving that sunshine down the start-finish straight as well. The conditions can change so fast here at the Nürburgring. You have to really have your wits about you. Kish crosses the line then, and he does a 155.1, but Jochen Hahn goes quicker at 154.8 for him, puts him on provisional pole. But of course, this is only Q1 of 3. So it's all about getting through to the next part of the session at this stage. Norby will be pretty happy with that lap, I imagine, and still not chase another one. We get a lovely view here of the gorgeous Baloo, the big red MAN. Fantastic looking machine, very well prepared by Revace Racing. But it's Jochen Hahn fastest at the moment, Norbert Kirsch, then Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albacete, Lucas Hahn next up. He's the highest placed driver in the Chrome category. Don't forget, you get T and C next to their numbers. That's Titan and Chrome. We have the overall standings and the Chrome standings separate. Good to see Jose Eduardo Rodriguez back this week as well. They've had their spare engine fitted and the truck has fired up and been running just fine for them. It's great to have him here. Mark Taylor has gone up to 6th fastest ahead of Andre Kurzim. Stefan Faas is 8th. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is 9th. And we have John Newell and Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Bradley Smith racing in the number 33 for this weekend, the number we haven't seen since Jamie Anderson raced in the championship. But Bradley racing under the guise of Sven Volta Logistics and, of course, the Don't Touch Racing team. Luke Garrett in 13th place at the moment, ahead of Louis Requenco, and Jonathan Andre makes his return to the series as well, which is great to see. I had another quick chat with him this morning as well. Lovely to have him in the paddock with us. A lot of you will remember that throughout the season so far, we've had Jose Eduardo Rodriguez running the Lion Truck Racing team's colours. As you can see him there, the Dayglow yellow, the white and the grey. Jose Eduardo has been running their colours so far this year, but now he's handed back over to his Rebo Connaught Racing team colours, the blue, white and red. There is Steffi Halm in the Iveco with Jonathan Andre making a move down the inside here. Throwing it down the inside a bit too far into the hairpin there. He's actually gone off the circuit and goes straight on. I think maybe on a bit of a compromised line there. But Steffi only down in 16th place after having that off at the start of the previous lap. You can see the Total Energies 5th wheel on these trucks as well, with the lovely shark fin on the back of it. Total Energies jumping on board as a partner of the championship here in 2024. There is the overstep, let's say, by Jonathan Andre. Thanks also to Joost, another one of the partners of the championship, who have joined us for this 2024 campaign. And obviously to championship title sponsor Goodyear. I haven't bumped into Davide Califano yet this weekend, actually. I'll have to try and keep my eye out for him. See whether I can catch up with him and see what he's got to say. I'm sure we'll probably see him on the stream at some point over the course of the weekend. So from this qualifying session, from Q1, which we're in right now, the top 12 go through into a 10-minute session. So at the moment, it's going to be Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albacete, Lucas Hahn, Mark Taylor, although I think actually Taylor's about to have his lap time deleted, Andre Kurzim, Stefan Faas, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and John Newell, and Heinrich Clemens Hecker and Bradley Smith going through. Luke Garrett, Louis Requenco, Steffi Halm and Jonathan Andre, the ones that will not make it through at this present moment, but still 6.5 minutes left on the clock. And Steffi now working on improving that time. She backed out of the previous lap as well, but without a trip into the gravel, it was obviously quicker. Out of the Mercedes arena she goes now. John Newell there, just in tow in the background as well. John was saying they've had a few really small, just niggly issues, as they call them, so far this weekend. This is Mark Taylor. This is why the lap's been deleted. Over the penalty mark as he goes. And it looks like Luke Garrett is going to have the same as well. Number 42 having his lap time deleted for hitting penalty markers. Which is a shame, but they have to be so careful through that chicane and take every bit of precaution. Antonio Albacete has just moved up into 3rd position there, ahead of Sasha Lenz. There is Antonio in the number 23 T-Sport Bernau machine. Tim and the team working tirelessly to maintain the truck, make sure everything's all spot on. Another lap time deleted as well, which is Andre Kurzim. So another one bites the dust, quite literally, at this point. Antonio, I think now in his 27th year of truck racing, and he's still hungry for victories, hungry for podiums and points, still mighty competitive. and a lovely guy as well. He really, really embraces his truck racing, and he's a very positive character to have around. Steffi Halm crosses the line, then goes 6th fastest, just behind Andre Kurzim, of course. The two of them so close together on pace all season so far. They've had some epic battles, and it looks like that's going to continue. We've got Lucas Hahn in 7th position, still leading the Chrome drivers ahead of Mark Taylor, and then Stefan Fass, then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Jonathan Andre. The 12 trucks, actually, that you have on the left-hand side of your screen now are the ones that will be going through. John Newell just displacing Bradley Smith for a moment there. But Steffi now making her way back around the circuit, and will head into the pit lane. She'll feel that her work in this session is done. And there is Bradley Smith wearing the yellow and white colours of Don't Touch Racing. You can see on the windscreen there, they've got the Don't Touch Racing banner and the Sven Walter Logistics title sponsor on there. They gave me a bacon sandwich earlier as well, by the way, did Bradley's team, so thank you very much for that, guys. Just in time as well, walking through the paddock and getting offered a bacon butty. What's better? Fantastic. I love the look of the MAN though, very strong. It's a very bold looking machine. There is Lena van der Maas interviewing Stefan Fass. We have the fan TV on this weekend, so there's almost a constant stream going on throughout the entire weekend. We're going to actually go down to Christina, who's down there in the pit lane as well. Let's go and speak to her.
Absolutely. It's just fine to see the tactics. You can see the teams. You can see Stefan Fassi just come in. So we're going to have a look of also T-Sport Berner, and they're trying to guide right now Antonio Albacetti in. So as you can see, there's the stop sign. And I just need to get my cameraman secure here, Sony. Thank you very much. So this is all about techniques, the new qualification format. And as you can see, they're checking, of course, the pressure on the tires, the air pressure. This is firstly important. Then they're going to open the door. It's Tim Frost, the chief mechanic. Of course, he's checking if everything is all right. And let's go around and maybe you can have a small chat. Yeah? Antonio, how's it going so far?
Well, yeah, for the moment it's okay. I mean, we were better on the weather conditions than now. Now it's a little bit difficult to see things more closer, but yeah, I mean, we are happy for the moment. So we see if we can improve a little bit in the next laps.
Is the track mostly dry?
Yeah, it's totally dry. Yeah, totally dry.
Thank you very much. So as we can see, the track is almost dry. That's good news. Back to you, Chaz.
Thank you, Christina. It's been fantastic to be reunited after we figured out it was 9 months since I was last on site in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship at Jarama at the end of last season. 9 months and a week. It's incredible. There's Bradley Smith kicking the tail out on the number 33 MAN. Just trying to get it rotated as much as possible through that Mercedes-Benz arena. Really tough round there. There's a lot of hard braking zones and long sweeping corners that go over crests and then compress at the bottom of the hill. It's mighty, mighty difficult. Bradley at the moment in 14th position ahead of Louis Requenco and Luke Garrett. Luke and the team hoping to get their steering issues sorted this weekend. They've swapped the front axle, I believe. They were having issues with the previous one, and it was just putting too much pressure on the steering and braking it every single time that they had to put a lot of force through it. It was spiking, as Luke said. Went to see them yesterday, and Luke was underneath the front end of the truck trying to put an axle in. He still had time for a chat, though, bless him. They're a great bunch. But as you see now, less than a minute left on the clock, and that on the left-hand side of your screen is the list of drivers that's currently going through. Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacetti, Sasha Lenz, Andre Kurzim, Steffi Halm, Lucas Hahn, Mark Taylor, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, Stefan Fass, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Jonathan Andre. Here comes John Newell to the line. He's not got much time to catch up, and he does it as well by a couple of tenths of a second and moves into 12th place. Luke Garrett is about to cross the line. We'll see whether he can improve on his current lap time. He does his best lap at 1:9.66, but doesn't move up. One driver that's good to have back on the grid, though, and going through is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and he is down there with Christina.
Absolutely, and he had a problem with the motor. We remember that at Zolder, so he needed to change that, and I'm going to ask him how did that happen. Como resolveu os problemas com o motor?
Fizemos a troca do motor ontem, tivemos um problema em Zolder, não foi possível concluir o dia de domingo e pronto, agora tivemos um motor novo e vamos ver o que é que nos reserva.
So you said that they just changed it yesterday, maybe in the night time. So they said they're going to try the new setup then, and it's going to be very, very well. Claro, apesar de dizer, ainda estás a liderar o campeonato. Como está mentalmente agora nesta situação?
Sabemos que estamos mais juntos do nosso adversário, mas vamos tentar recuperar os pontos perdidos e tentar fazer uma boa prova este fim de semana. Obrigado.
So you said that, of course, because he had this failure of this motor, he's right now the championship in the chrome category is really, really close and tightened up. That's also good for us, for the spectators. But I asked him, how does he deal with that mentally? And he said he needs to be strong. And of course, he's trying to get some more points on his bank account this weekend, Chaz.
Yeah, points mean prizes, and they are oh so important, especially as he missed an entire day of racing on Sunday at Zolder. As we have there, Lena interviewing Norbert Kisch, current championship leader, second place in that first qualifying session so far, but he won't be too upset with that one. Norby nearly took 3 Grand Slams on the bounce so far this season, which has been remarkable to see. The only race he hasn't won so far. And we're going to go back down to Christina. She's got Mark Taylor.
Yes, we're going to Mark Taylor. Sony cameraman, let's go up there, and the door is open, which is going to say that we have a small chat with Mark. Maybe he's in the talking. Oh, how! Thank you very much. Did you see that? That everyone paused just because of the television. I'm sorry for that. Thank you very much, guys. Mark, how's it going? How's it running?
Yeah, it's doing good. It's definitely a change of weather from this morning from practice. But yeah, we're here and we're qualifying, and we've qualified good.
Yeah. I saw that the track, we asked that the track is dry right now, but as you said during free practice, it was absolutely raining. So what did you need to change until now?
The team, they've changed all the complete setup on the truck. So the tyre pressures and the suspension and everything. And it's just going back to yesterday to dry lines instead of wet.
And what does Kermit say about the racetrack, Nürburgring, the legendary Nürburgring? Because maybe you can see it, there's Kermit sitting in this truck.
He don't stop screaming all the way round.
Thank you very much. Maybe we can do a close-up of Kermit. I hope you could see him.
Top stuff from Mark Taylor. But again, it's just part of the fun of this championship. You know, there's so many little details and little jokes and inside jokes that a lot of the teams have, and even just down to the drivers and their own superstitions even. It's just good fun. We've had the checkered flag out here at the Nürburgring, though, for qualifying one of the weekend, and it is Jochen Hahn that has gone fastest from Norbert Kisch, Antonio Albacetti, Sascha Lenz and Andre Kurzim complete the top 5. We then have Steffi Halm, then Lucas Hahn, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, Mark Taylor and Stefan Fast completing the top 10. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Jonathan Andre will be going through into Q2. Jonathan Andre just beating John Newell there at the end by barely half a tenth of a second. Louis Requenco and then Bradley Smith and Luke Garrett are the remaining drivers that will not then go out into Q2. So we now wait to see all the trucks form up at the end of the pit lane for the second part of the session. Just nearly fell off my chair then. I forgot the back of this chair moved here, so I nearly went flying. We've got Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kisch at the end of the pit lane there. Jochen's only over to the left-hand side of our shop because they basically use the end pit box for this weekend. They are all the way down at the bottom. They go out in order of the first session, as Mark says. You know what, Marcus? You don't need the we don't need the chocks. It's fine. I'll just set off. There's Richard Keimberger in the pink vest, legendary photographer of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I was telling him before that it's been so long since I've been on site, and he told me that since 1996 he's only missed 4 race meetings, which is incredible, absolutely incredible. I said legendary photographer, I meant it. Very good stuff as well from behind the lens. But a great vibe yet again here in the wonderful Eifel region of Germany. great electric buzz. It doesn't matter what the conditions are like. The fans come out in their hundreds of thousands to this event over the course of the weekend. And there's so many people here to enjoy themselves. We have the Mittelrhein Cup as well going on this weekend, where we have another truck racing series out on the track. So there's plenty of people about in the paddock. Always something to look at. And you can see now they just prepare themselves to head out on track. Norbert Kish on the right-hand side there. Very not often that we see him in second place. But of course, that session doesn't completely set the grid for the first of the races of the weekend. Race of which that will come up tomorrow. We only have qualifying today. We have race 1 of the weekend coming up at 5 to 11 tomorrow. Broadcast time from here will be about 25 past 10. We'll go live about half an hour before the race starts. And then the second race live stream of the weekend will be at 5 past 5 on Saturday evening. We then have qualifying 2 and both races on Sunday. Any moment now, the drivers and teams should head out onto the circuit. Qualifying, by the way, 9 AM on Sunday, local time to Germany, that is. So over in the UK, that would be an 8 AM start. That's another benefit, actually, of being on site. Don't have to worry about the time difference. Don't have to have a 7 AM start for a race weekend. If that's an argument for having me on site every time, I don't know what is. Even if I do have my director laughing in my ear right now about the fact that I'm complaining about time differences. Still, there is Jochen Hahn. He won't be complaining about the time difference between himself and Norbert Kish in that session. That'll fill him with confidence going into this next part of the session. And they now head back out onto the track. Massive appreciation here for Jochen Hahn and his team. Obviously, a lot of German drivers in the championship, so huge appreciation for all of them out there on the grid. The likes of Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz, Andre Kurzim, Steffi Halm, Lukas Hahn, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, Stefan Fass, all German drivers. And their home crowd and their home event means a lot to them. So 12 of them out on the circuit then. Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete, Sascha Lenz, Andre Kurzim, Steffi Halm, Lukas Hahn, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, Mark Taylor, Stefan Fass, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, and Jonathan Andre. Great to see Jonathan straight back with us and straight into it as well. Into qualifying 2 for the first time this season in the first session he's taken part in. That'll be a big confidence boost to him and the team. He's been running, I should say, in the French Truck Racing Championship. There is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, a truck we've not seen much on our screens yet, but he's in the gorgeous blue, white and red colours of the Rebo Connaught Racing team. And look at the scenes here. You've got bursts of sunshine every so often, but then still a dark background, even if it is the trees themselves. The sky I can see just out of the window is still full of dark grey clouds. So you never know what you're going to be getting. That's the joy of it here at the circuit. Although I described it to Csaba Bako earlier today from Revees Racing. I described it to him as the joy of the Nürburgring. And he said it's not always a joy when you have to worry about setting up the trucks, which I clearly don't. So it's easy for me to sit here and say that. But the field now crawls its way around. They all go very slowly on this first lap, just keeping everything at a cool temperature, not overheating a single component of these trucks. Getting them ready to go for a fast run and their laps in Q2. I can hear out my window now Jochen Hahn powering down the start-finish straight. Around the final corner he goes. And he'll be the first one to get to the different parts of the circuit that may develop in terms of conditions. It's definitely dry now, though. You can see sunshine engulfing the circuit a little bit more. That's exactly what the drivers want. A lot more straightforward running for them. But it's still not warm, though, safe to say. I may have braved it in a t-shirt and shorts not long ago, but I tell you, it is definitely not warm. It's the wind more than anything, though. I think if it was just ambient air temperature and it was just calm winds and there wasn't much of a breeze, it'd be okay. But it is often very windy up here at the Nürburgring, up in the hills. We look at the delightful number 2 Iveco of Jochen Hahn. I love this thing. It's a great looking truck. Slightly different front end on it than they had last year. The new Iveco branding badge on it as well. And it's lovely to see all the teams. It's such a niche detail for me, but it's lovely to see when the teams have really, really cleaned all the wheels up, made them as shiny as possible with brand new Goodyear tyres on with the yellow tyre writing at the start of a weekend. Just makes them look so polished and so tidy, doesn't it? Look at it. It's awesome. Racing trucks never get old when you get used to them. Which I realise is a ridiculous sentence to say, actually, because the point of something not getting old is getting used to it. But anyway, Norbert Kish, second on the circuit at the moment, makes his way up towards the chicane. Hardest braking zone on the circuit, I'd say, although down to turn 1, pretty rough and ready as well. Over the curbs one way, then the other. I was very grateful for Antonio Albacete, the truck just behind Norbert Kish, to take me out on circuit last season on the media day. And let me tell you, those curbs are not comfortable from on board the truck. They make one hell of a bang. But the trucks themselves really do absorb them really well. But it still shakes the entire chassis around. So you have to make sure all the components are very, very strong and really durable. That's one of the best things about these trucks, the way that they're built. They are so tough, so strong. So lap times in, I can tell you that Norbert Kish has gone fastest this time by just over a second from Antonio Albacete, who's gone second fastest. Jochen Hahn is third, only 8 thousandths of a second back with a 1:54.860. Then we have Sascha Lenz in fourth position, 1:55.0 for him, only a couple of tenths off. Then there's about half a second to Steffi Halm. Lucas Hahn is next up ahead of Stefan Faas. Then Andre Kurzim. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez currently 9th, and Mark Taylor completing the top 10 ahead of Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Jonathan Andre. Now for this session, they need to get through, to get through from this session, I should say, they need to get to the top 6 into the last 5-minute burst in Q3. Currently, Lucas Hahn is on his way into Q3. He's the only Chrome driver to be in the mix for that at the moment. Stefan Faas, the man we look at here, just outside of that. He's going to be winding up for another lap now to try again and get back up there in the Tank Pool 24 Racing Scania. Again, another lovely looking machine, really well presented. They've got a lot of their hospitality with them again this weekend. They've got a legendary trailer called Zorro. They named it Zorro, and it's all Zorro themed, funnily enough, but it's almost like it looks a little bit like a cowboy saloon. It's basically a trailer that's been turned into a bar. They have it down there on the Mullenbach Schleifer at the bottom end of the circuit. I think it'd be rude not to pop by for a beer or 7 later on. And he's continuing on now to try another fast lap. He's just getting himself a bit of space here ahead of all the trucks that have completed their times. You can see the people moving out of the way one way then the other, trying not to hold each other up. Over the chicane he goes. Hard onto the brakes into the final corner. Tries to get it settled and off he goes. There's his Scania driving teammate, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker. Clemens back with us again for this weekend. Mark Taylor there in the background as well, hoping to improve on his time and try and get up into that top 6. All the drivers on the circuit had really good pace in that first session, so they definitely know that there's potential to get into that top 6. It's so close in terms of the times, though, in that midfield. Jochen Hahn has come into the pits. I think Norbert Kish and Antonio Albacete have done the same. I think Sascha Lenz has also headed down pit lane. As Jonathan Andre across the line, the French driver, number 66, making his first appearance in the season. Currently down there in 12th place out of the 12 that are on track. But to have gotten through into Q2 will be really rewarding for him and the team. see the lean on the truck around there as they go through turn 2 in that Mercedes-Benz arena. Puts so much pressure on the front right tyre around there because you're scraping it over the crest of the hill, and then as you then come down the hill it compresses like mad and you're still on the lock. It really isn't a circuit that is kind to the trucks at all. But that's part of it. That's part and parcel of truck racing, is you need to build them to last and be tough, durable machines. And these teams do that so well. With Jonathan Andre pushing on then. Currently in 11th place. I think Stefan Faas is the one that's had his lap time deleted. He's now showing us 8 seconds off, and I think that was his previous lap where he just made it round. Yes, it was. It was the lap time, confirmed by Barbara. Barbara sending me all the information from race control, all of the info that comes through. It's great to see Barbara again. Actually, we've not seen each other for over a year now. She hasn't been on site herself in the championship for the previous season. It's been a long time. Still a lot of trucks out there on the circuit though, trying to put times in with just 30 seconds left on the board. You can see all the way through Andre Kurzim's truck there. Look at the Iveco branded grille. You can see all the way through the bottom of the cab there, which is really cool. There's only a few trucks in the field where you can see that. They've worked very hard on the front end of this number 11 machine. It's a very interesting design. Certainly different to any truck we've seen before in the championship, that's safe to say. But at the moment, it's Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete, Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz, Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim. It will be going through to the final part of qualifying. And the timer has hit 0 now. So the checkered flag will come out. And that will mean that a bunch of them at the top anyway will be certainly confirmed to have gone through. I'm not sure if there's anybody actually on a fast lap to try and displace any of them right now. Just looking around at the multiple camera angles that I've got access to. Looks like Heinrich Clemens Hecker is. Yeah, he's just coming around the final corner now. Runs a little bit wide out the last corner, but gets it done. Doesn't hit any markers. Stefan Faas still going for it in the background as well. Does Heinrich Clemens Hecker improve on his time? I don't think he did. No, it was a 57.0 that time round. His best was a 56.9. Stefan Faas has moved up the order, though. He goes up into 9th position with a 156.374, but he doesn't go into the top 6 to get through into that final part of qualifying. What about Jose Eduardo Rodriguez? Lucas Hahn didn't manage it. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez also doesn't manage it. He does a 156.5. His best is 156.25. So he does not improve. But it's lovely to see that truck back in the Rebo Connaught team colours again. And that great blue, white and red design. Mark Taylor has had his lap time deleted for penalty markers, unfortunately. So he's been outside of track limits and been a naughty boy in the eyes of the stewards. So the time where he infringed said track limits will not count. We have another clean slate to go for Q3 in just a sec, and we're going to hand down to Christina.
Absolutely, and we're going to, the truck is getting started, as you can see right now and here right now, from Sascha Lenz. He's currently on P number 4, so I think he's trying to improve, because as we know from last year, number 3 it is, but he wants to be furthermore up front, so this is also home ground for him. He knows every straw, of course, of this racetrack, and I'm going to be very curious as he's trying to improve his timings right now. So Chaz, back to you.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, Sascha, certainly a driver that wears his heart on his sleeve. He's really passionate about his racing, and he always wants to perfect everything and be right up at the sharp end. We've seen him win races before. It's been a wonderful vibe. Sascha and the team always bring such great positivity to the series with their amazing purple branding. I caught up with the lovely Violet Caught up with Jane yesterday in the paddock. Not seen her for a long time either. And she's got some wonderful sunglasses to wear for this weekend. Apparently one different pair on each day. If you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, you need to go back and see race 3 from Zolder, where Jane was interviewed on the grid. She's a huge supporter of Sasha and the team and does all of their photography and all of their media. It's been awesome to catch back up with everybody again for this weekend, and just great to be back on the ground here within the championship in the paddock. Very, very grateful to be out here at the Nürburgring. It's always so special coming here, and the drivers and the teams know it as well. They all really appreciate and respect this place, and I do too. It's awesome. This grandstand where our camera is now is going to be the place to be as well a little bit later on. At about 6 p.m. this evening, they have the go and stop competition on the start-finish straight here at the Nürburgring. On the Saturday, they do it with the road trucks. And on the Friday, they do it with the road trucks. And on the Saturday, they do it with the race trucks from the Mittelrhein Cup and some of our trucks as well. The go and stop competition is fantastic. They basically have trios of bollards. They have 2 lanes down the start-finish straight, like a drag strip. And then they have 3 bollards aside at the bottom in the shape of a triangle. And the drivers have to brake at the perfect point from flat out to knock over the first of those bollards and not the second ones. Great fun. Back down to Christina, though, who is down there in the pit lane for us.
Absolutely, with the father of José Rodrigues, and so we're going to talk about the motor failure, and they needed to change it yesterday. So, a posição número 8, está satisfeito agora depois do troco do motor?
Sim, ele ontem não fez nenhum treino e hoje está a conhecer como é que está a pista, portanto acho que é positivo. Agora com as provas e amanhã provavelmente é capaz de melhorar. Esperamos por isso.
So you said he did not have any trainings, and of course it is the first time on qualification, and of course getting to know the track for him after the motor change. So this is a huge effort for the team, and as you can see, he was smiling, so he's very happy with that.
Yeah, it'll be filling them with confidence to be able to come back to a weekend, especially one as important as this, to the championship. You know, this is the biggest stage of the season for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and it's great to have them on the grid. We were really concerned after the previous round at Zolder just 2 weeks ago, because that engine failure kept them completely out of action, and there wasn't anything they could do on site to get it fixed either. So, yeah, the guys are over the moon to be back amongst it here in the 4th race meeting of the championship. And we once again get everybody choreographed and single filed into a line at the end of the pit lane, ready to head back out on track for Q3, which is only a 5-minute session, tiny session. They can only get 1 or 2 laps in realistically. And it's going to be Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete, Sascha Lenz, Jochen Hahn, and Steffi Halm. I believe as well Andre Kursim going out there too. The top 6 machines. You can see the rest of them in the background being guided into the pit lane. So all Titan drivers in this final session of the day. We have the overall championship standings and the Chrome championship standings for drivers that haven't reached a set number of achievements in the series before that current season anyway. There is Antonio Albacete. Speaking of set number of achievements, that man has pretty much done all of them. He has completed it, so to speak. And it's lovely to still see him racing. There is the HVO 100 shark fin on the 5th wheel. And Total Energies branded wonderful bit of kit on the back of them. I'll tell you one thing as well, actually, for being on site for the first time this year, they are huge, those shark fins. They look like they'd be really small and they'd fit just in the palm of your hand. But they are absolutely massive when you see them in person. They're great. I really like them. Some of the drivers have said that they're not the prettiest things I've ever seen, but I think they look fantastic. It's the irony of what looks like an aerodynamic device that's so small compared to the rest of the truck, I think, as well, is what makes them almost cute. At the end of the day, it's a creative way of displaying the branding of Total Energies, partner of the championship for 2024. Now we have these 6 drivers. I was going to say crawling round like we did before, but they're at a little bit of a higher pace here because they know that if they mess up this first lap, they've only got one more opportunity to get another lap on the board then. And they're going to need to have crossed the line in about a minute's time. Otherwise, some of the drivers at the back, i.e. Steffi Halm and Andre Kurzim, will not get a second lap on the board. So, around the final corner goes Norbert Kish. He heads onto the start-finish straight now. Antonio Albacete next up, then Jochen Hahn. What's the clock on by the time that the last drivers cross the line? Sasha Lenz moving out the final corner. Steffi Halm not too far behind, then Andre Kurzim. Lap time has been about 1:56 so far, 1:54 is actually some of the quickest times. So all the drivers should be able to get 2 laps on the board here if they carry on. If they're not happy with their first lap, they should be all good. They've got a decent gap as well. Decent bit of leeway at least. So they can try and get that second one on. Andre Kurzim's just gone through first corner now. Norbert Kish here going through the latter part of the Mercedes arena. Norbert just keeping it nice and tidy there into the hairpin. Look at the way that the elevation changes there as well. It's a really tough corner, that. It may be quite slow and look quite smooth in terms of its radius, but the way that it drops down and the way that the curb is quite tall on the inside really does upset these trucks very easily. They can use a lot of the AstroTurf on the right-hand side there. There's a lot of runoff on the right-hand side of the circuit. They can use quite a bit of that before getting told off by anybody. There's Sasha Lenz just in front of Steffi Halm. At least we know where to get a fire extinguisher. Andre Kurzim at the back of the train, but has been on some good pace so far this season, as Andre. He's not had any podium appearances yet, though, this season, unfortunately. No overall podiums. But he's been knocking on the door. There's been many a race where he's put in some fantastic defensive performances, where he's held off drivers for a long, long time and really kept his position nicely. Out of the final corner then, the first laps of Q3 to go on the board. Norbert Kish crosses the line, and he does a 1:54.227. Jochen Hahn just over half a second behind, with then Antonio Albacete third. Sasha Lenz goes fourth fastest. Then Steffi Halm fifth. Is Andre Kurzim going to get in front? He is. Andre Kurzim goes to fifth position. 10 seconds left on the board, but they can finish the lap that they're on. So I'm wondering whether the drivers are all pushing for a second qualifying lap. Not sure whether Norby would be pushing for a second one here. He might have pulled over to not be in the way if these guys are pushing, but at the end of the day, I don't think he's got any reason not to push, and he is going. He's going for it still. With the gap being half a second. Smaller than we've seen before, but it's not completely out of reach for some of these guys. With only 2 laps on the tyres, they'll be feeling very, very good. This new compounder tyre by Goodyear that they've brought with them for the 2024 campaign is very durable. It's a lot better in the wet conditions as well, so cooler temperatures like this, the tyre is going to feel fantastic. Here is Jochen wrestling with the Iveco through the right-hander, glances that little marker there on the outside, which was really, really close. Sasha Lenz smoothly through the right as well. Steffi Halm following on next. Looks like everybody. Although, where is Andre Kurzim? Is he held back by that much? I think Andre has decided not to go for another fast lap. Norbert Kish heads into the last corner. He's got a 1:54.227 to beat. Pretty confident that he's going to be holding on to that pole position here. He looks like he's on an almost as quick lap. And he goes even quicker. Look at that, 1:53.992. Norbert Kish improves on his second lap of the session. Jochen Hahn doesn't improve. He goes just a bit slower. Antonio Albacete is about 4/10 off on that second lap. Sasha Lenz just misses out on beating his best time as well. What does Steffi Halm do? She's just missed out a few tenths as well. And Andre Kurzim out of the final chicane is not going to improve on his lap time. So Norbert Kish takes pole position for the first race of the weekend here at the Nürburgring, with Jochen Hahn joining him on the front row. Antonio Albacete and Sascha Lenz will make up the second row of the grid. And then it'll be Andre Kurzim and Steffi Halm once again doing battle from row 3. Those two have been absolutely glued to each other all season. And they continue to be right together this time. Antonio will be pleased to be in third position ahead of Sascha Lenz. So far this season, we've had the theme of the sort of top 4 being the big hitters in the championship at this point. So any time that one of them can just be ahead of the other, even by 1 position, you'll see them be pretty happy about it, to say the least. It's very competitive, very close. I'm just looking at the gaps, though, and it was really not a lot between Hahn and Albacete. Only about 0.08 of a second. And on a lap that's nearly 2 minutes long, that is not a lot at all. There was only 0.008 of a second between them in the earlier session. Now I'm hearing that potentially Antonio Albacete and Jochen Hahn will have their lap times deleted from Q3. Or their later times, sorry, their second lap times, due to track limits. So not completely deleting times off the board. What does that mean in terms of the positions? It looks like Albacete's time being deleted puts him back into 4th place. So Sascha Lenz will hold on to 3rd. He improved and got up there. So Albacete, unfortunately, having that second lap time. Wow. Change right at the end then. So what I was saying about getting one over on the other of the big hitters, Sascha Lenz finds himself 3rd on the grid. He stays on the same row. He only moves forward 1 position. But that will be all more important for him to be on the inside line, down towards turn 1 for the first race of the day tomorrow. There is Jochen Hahn in towards scrutineering, where the wonderful Franz Stahlberg and Connie Tolkun will do their work. Another very happy duo of people in the paddock that were great to see earlier this morning. And for any of you that followed my adventures last year on the vlog that was on my YouTube channel, you would have seen that Franz was the man that had to wipe marker pen off my forehead with brake cleaner last year. We vowed that that's not going to happen again. He did tell me that if it does happen again, he's got a wire brush for me this time round, which I don't think will feel as fantastic. There is Sascha Lenz making his way towards the end of the pit lane. The entrance to the paddock for the trucks is just at the end there. They can fit through. So if you don't go through to scrutineering, you just drive all the way down and then cut through from that bottom entrance. Let's have a look then at how qualifying panned out in the end. It's Norbert Kirsch taking pole position ahead of Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz. Trucks 1, 2 and 3 yet again. Antonio Albacete is 4th with Andre Kurzim and Steffi Halm lining up on the 3rd row of the grid. Lucas Hahn and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez make up row 4, with Stefan Faas and Mark Taylor completing the top 10. Behind them we have Jonathan Andre and Heinrich Clemens Hecker on row 6, John Newell and Louis Requenco 13th and 14th, with Bradley Smith and Luke Garrett completing our biggest grid of the season. Awesome to have the turnout for this round of the championship. We always do get a great amount of trucks here. There's so many people. You can see just how full the paddock is. It goes all the way down to the other end of the Mercedes-Benz Arena. It's like being in a very packed sort of city centre when you're in there, because all the trucks and the awnings are so tall here. We do have the ADAC GT Masters here this weekend as well. So there's the glorious sound of GT3 cars blaring around the place, as well as the really loud trucks that we have. And you can see everywhere you look, the conditions look completely different. But that's all from me for now, everybody. It's been absolutely joyous to be back as part of qualifying. We'll be back tomorrow for race 1. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye and hand back down to Christina.
Thank you very much. So how does it take place, scrutineering? The drivers, they just see it in the immediate second they need to get out, and maybe hearing that from the team. And as you can see, Jochen Hahn, he parked his truck over here, scrutineering all of the checks, and we'll soon be able to talk to him. It has been a spectacular qualifying. The new format is really thrilling, and of course it's been so close. It's only 8,000, as just Raikkonen mentioned, and he's just behind on place number 2 and P2, and it's Norbert Kisch. He's going to start from pole position right now. So Jochen Hahn is still in there, and they maybe need to try that adjust it, because of course the weight is important. So you can see those plates down there on the floor, the red one, and maybe he needs to adjust that once and again. So lots of technical stuff is of course, and many secrets here at the scrutineering. But as you can see, every truck which comes here is absolutely checked, and of course the bottle of water is most important. I think Jochen Hahn is also legendary known for keeping his water bottle very close with a big straw. This is one of his technical small equipments. But soon we're going to talk to him and maybe just turn around, have a look. As you can see, at this time they're trying to get everything right, and the further tests, they're also taking place. So of course we want to see everyone who just come around and maybe sneak into that scenery, but we can't get too close. Right now he's off the truck, and of course with his water bottle, and I'm with the microphone. Jochen, if you've got time, has just given the first look on the truck. I will just follow him. Just come around. Kuckuck. That was my salute to him. We don't want to disturb, of course, everyone which is working here, but he's got time. He's a patient man, of course, and we are also. Jochen, so P number 2, it's just 8,000, and it's on your home ground. We are so glad to be back here at the Nürburgring. Of course, you know every straw. Of course, you know everything about here. But maybe what is new this year?
You say 8,000, but you mean to place 3, not to place 1.
It is.
Yeah, normally you say it to the next place and forward, you know. But anyway,
then I know that it's further.
No, I know the difference. But you know, I have the pole position. You know why? All others behind nobody have the pole or the second or the third place. No, it's amazing. He make a job like hell. I respect it, but we must work hard for it to beat him. Yeah.
How can you do that?
That's a good question. We work on it, really. We work very hard on it, and we make a step. But you know, in step by step, langsam aber sicher. Kann man in vielen Sprachen sagen. Many languages knows this word, you know. Step by step, and it is like it is. So, peu à peu, we will see. Wait, points are coming in the race, not in the time practice, but I will beat him also in the time practice.
So we're going to see race number 1 tomorrow. What are you looking forward? The atmosphere is going to be spectacular, lots of fans, maybe lots of friends and family on the grid also. What does that mean for you competing here?
That means pressure, you know, pressure from every side, you know. Nobody accepts when you are in a sinking moment or a little bit ill, maybe, or sick or something, you know. Everybody need 100% in the truck for the people, and that's the job in Germany, and we do it. And now I'm happy when it's Sunday evening, you know, not about the races, but about everything. It's a lot of pressure on the shoulders, but we can handle it, we do it, and we keep smiling with the second place, and I'm happy.
We keep smiling also. Thank you very much, and we're going to see, of course, your electric truck. It's the debut on the grid also. We're going to talk about that Saturday, Sunday. Thank you very much, Jochen Hahn. And right now we're going to wish you all the best, and we're going to see everyone back then on Saturday. This is the time schedule you need. Please mark that in the calendar. So we are so happy to be back finally here at the ring. Absolutely legendary. And as you heard it, the heat is absolutely on. So I'm really looking forward to fierce battleship for the Titan category, the Chrome category. So this was that, the first qualifying in the books, and soon more to come. So see you tomorrow.